count mine. You know. Ask me what I'm doing, just grinding. Haters wanna hate, let them hate, never mind them. Be more bins, tryna reach the next plateau. And I can't stop till I achieve my goals. Keep a couple feet inside the photos. So official with the vibe, you can kick up my zone. Hold on for a minute, let me count mine. You know.
Okay guys, in this part of the video, you probably really won't see my face right now because I wanted you guys to see the most important part of what I'm doing and also what I've already done. So in an earlier video, I was explaining that I went to the store and I got 4 buckets of Chitterlings, which are 10 pounds per bucket. They were, I believe, $12.99 a bucket. So they had the bags of chitlins that you can buy for $8.99, which are 5-pound bags, where you can buy the 10-pound bucket for $12.99. So the difference between the $8.99 5-pound bags is that they are pre-cleaned. But we all know that if you are a chitlin eater like I myself am, you know that those chitlins are not clean. So even though the price is better, you're getting a lot less chitlins for $8.99. You might as well pay the $4 extra bucks and get the 10-pound buckets. So what I did was I had 4 of these right here. See that? 10 pounds a piece, which was 40 pounds. So I went ahead and cleaned these, and I am so freaking tired, guys. I'm tired. And at the end, I had 2 buckets left. So out of 4 buckets, I got 1 bucket, 1 full bucket, and a half a bucket of chitlins, which is what I kind of expected in the first place, because you're not going to get a whole lot of chitlins without running into a whole bunch of garbage and mess to clean. And that's the situation that I had. It was a bunch of garbage. So I'm going to show you how I cleaned them. And now this is the second that I'm doing right here. This is the second clean that I'm doing right here, which I have them sit in soaking hot water. I'm going to be kind of scrubbing them together, and I'm going to show you how I picked them and cleaned them. I have a lid I'm going to be using in case I see any type of mess on 1 or 2 of the chitlins, which I probably won't see much because I clean my chitlins super well. I'm just gonna demonstrate to you guys how I do it and the best way to do it, so that way you guys decide to do this, even if it's not for this holiday, but for a holiday coming up in the near future, you'll know how to safely do this without getting yourself sick by eating the garbage that these things actually hold. So just so you guys know, this is not going to be a long video by any means, but I just want to say the importance of making sure these things are clean, because if you leave, now don't get me wrong what I'm going to say, some people leave just a little bit mess on them because they're too much in a rush to get them cleaned and all that stuff. But another most important thing, since this is pork, pure pork, I always say in my videos, I only eat stuff like this in the months with the R's in them, because the months with the R's in them are the cold months. You can be at risk of high blood pressure by eating this when it's really hot outside. Now in Texas, it's like 45, 50 degrees on a normal basis, so it's okay to eat this. Once I get done cleaning these off, I'm gonna put these in a crock pot right here, but I'm not gonna cook them right now or plug it in. I'm gonna put some water in the crock pot, and I'm gonna pour this partial bottle of vinegar inside of the crock pot, put it in the refrigerator, and let these soak like that all night. And the reason for that is because it helps kill the smell. Now, if you guys cook chitlins, you know that they have a very strong smell. So what I'm gonna do is stop talking so much and show you guys exactly what I'm doing. So again, these chitlins right here are already cleaned. I cleaned these earlier myself. These are extremely super duper clean. I don't play when it comes to pork, especially my chitlins. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn this hot water on kind of low. I'm not gonna turn it on too high, just enough. Again, this is the second rinse, and I'm gonna do it one more time off of camera though, just so you guys can get the idea of how to do this. My chitlins are super clean. That's why I say, if you clean 40 pounds of chitlins, and when you get done cleaning your chitlins, you still have 40 pounds of chitlins left, you better go over those chitlins again, because out of every 10 pounds of chitlins that a person cleans, you should only have about 4 or 5 pounds. You're gonna have a whole lot of fat in there. You're gonna have a whole lot of mess. This is what your chitlins should look like when you get done. Nice, bright, and clean. Shouldn't be no mess in there whatsoever. I mean, I've cleaned these so many times over the years that I'm pretty much a professional at doing it. The only downside is I hate standing for long periods of time, where I could bring a chair in here and sit down in it, but I'd rather stay on my feet. Plus I have my son Dion here, which keeps me on my feet as well. So all I'm gonna do, guys, is just rinse these off. And when I get done rinsing them off, again, I'm gonna go ahead and pour the vinegar in a crock pot and fill it halfway up with water. I'm gonna put the lid on it and I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator. That way it sits all night, soaks in that vinegar, and then we'll move on to the next step tomorrow, which the next step after letting them sit all night in the vinegar is the next day. The final and last step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour them back in the sink, rinse all that vinegar off of it, and let that smell that the vinegar helped me take away from the chitlins go down the sink. And then we'll be ready to cut up our potato and onion for the chitlins. Now, you guys are probably wondering what the potato and onion is for. So I'll tell you. You use a potato, or you can use a few potatoes in your chitlins. What potatoes do is absorb the fat. You guys ever cook chitlins and then you refrigerate them, or you leave them out all night and you come back the very next day, when they done cooled off, they got like this big old thick white film around it? Well, that's all grease, and that's fattening. So what the potato does is help absorb some of that fat, and the onion actually kills the smell. So when you walk into a person's house, you can't even really tell that they're actually cooking chitlins. I mean, I done walked in people's houses, especially some of my relatives. I got some relatives, well, my relatives are all really, you know, clean. Guys, things didn't work too well with the crock pot. I actually was starting to put the chitlins in the crock pot, but as I went on, the chitlins started to overfill the crock pot. Now, they will eventually cook down when I actually get the crock pot going and get the water hot, but for right now, I had to use my big pan that I was gonna use to put the greens in, and as you guys see, the chitlins actually took over the pan. I mean, the big old pot. So, this is a lot of chitlins. I didn't realize it was this many chitlins. I'm gonna bring this closer so you guys can see. And that's what they're looking like right now. And these things are super duper clean, guys. Again, you wanna rinse these off multiple times. Now, here's what I'm gonna have to do. Now that I have the rinsing process done, I have 2 buckets, empty buckets that I had left, because out of the 4 buckets of chitlins that I had, 2 of the buckets was full of garbage. I mean, it was nothing but garbage. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to break this down. About to take half of these chitlins out this here and put them back inside of the red buckets that they originally came in, so I can pour my vinegar in, and then I can let these soak in the vinegar. So I'm gonna have to get half of these out of here. I end up coming up with 1.5 bucket of chitlins, just a little bit, well, maybe close to a bucket, and then another bucket was almost 3/4 full. So I'm not gonna fill this all the way up that way, because if I would have left the chitlins inside this pan, inside of this pot right here, I would not have had room to actually put the vinegar in there. So the most important thing for me is getting the vinegar in here. So I'm gonna set that there and get this other red bucket. So I didn't get a chance to weigh these up, but if I had to guess, out of 40 pounds of chitlins, I probably got a good 18 to 20 pounds. Again, I clean my chitlins extremely thorough. Some may even say I over clean my chitlins, but I don't know if it's a such thing as over cleaning them, because you can never be too safe. You know, there's always room to be safe, especially when you're putting stuff into your mouth, because eventually it's got to come out of you. What goes in you must come out of you, and you guys know how that works. It can come out smooth and regularly, or it can come out extremely bad. Let's just say like eating a habanero pepper. So that's it, guys. Okay, I'm not for sure how I'm gonna do this, because I want to cook them in my crock pot. Erica actually took her other crock pot a couple weeks ago, because she's gonna be using hers as well. So now I'm gonna set this to the side, set my camera back up. so I can get the vinegar started. Let me tilt this down a little bit more. There we go, so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So we got 2 good buckets. Ooh, oh yeah, guys, you know what? I may actually have 20 pounds combined. Like with both buckets, I may actually have 20 pounds. I'm gonna try to pour some of this water off. It's kind of hard to get it off here without actually spilling the stuff in the sink. There we go. And before I put them in the crock pot, I poured as much water off as I can, but chitlins hold a lot of water, so you can never get all the water off of them. The best thing is to try to get as much of the water off as you can before you pour the vinegar in. Then, like I said, we're gonna let it sit overnight in the vinegar and water. Pour that off. Oh, that had a lot of water in it. And in my next video tomorrow, guys, the chitlins will probably already be on cooking, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut my onions and potatoes up probably later on tonight and put those in there. It's actually almost midnight right now, guys. So I started cleaning these chitlins earlier today, and it got so late in the evening I had lost track of time, but just pouring that vinegar right over in there, just like that. And this is empty. This was actually a partial bottle of vinegar. It was probably about, maybe about right there to the green thing where it says vinegar at. So it wasn't a full bottle. So I'm not gonna use a whole lot of this one either. Maybe about the same amount, give or take. Put that vinegar right over there. Maybe a little bit more in here. And that's it, guys. Go ahead and put the lids back on here. Wipe some off first, because they still got some of the original juices on them from when I first bought them. There's this one off as well. Don't forget, guys, I mean, everybody's different, right? So I do eat a lot of pork, but again, most times when I eat stuff like this is normally in the months with the R's in them, because you're at really high risk of having high blood pressure. But anyway, again, like I said, this is not gonna be a very long video, guys. I wanted to show you guys what the chitlins look like after I cleaned them, and how many, how much I came out with. Out of 4 buckets of chitlins, I came out with 2 full buckets of clean product. These right here, after I rinse these off again tomorrow for one more final rinse, these will be ready to go in a crock pot, but this time I'm gonna have to do it differently. In order for me to get all these chitlins in this crock pot, I'm gonna have to let this water boil first for a little bit. I mean, get really hot in this crock pot and put maybe 1 bucket in at a time, because they will cook down. It's impossible for me to put both buckets in this crock pot because they have to cook down. And like anything else, like greens and stuff, chitlins will cook down. So tomorrow's video, I will be showing you guys how I prep the greens, how I cut them up and rinse them off and season them up and get all that stuff ready for the greens. That way the chitlins will be already out the way, done, and we can start on the greens. And then after that, we can start on the turkey. And then eventually we can start on the dressing. Okay guys, today is actually Thursday. This is the day, I'm sorry, today is Wednesday, my apology. This is the day before Thanksgiving. So as you guys noticed last night, when I put the chitlins in the crock pot, it was way too many chitlins and it kind of over flooded the crock pot. So what I had to do was I had to put them in a tall pan, let them cook down, and then I'm able to put them inside the crock pot. But I wanted to show you guys real quick how I'm gonna season these up real quick, so you guys can see how they progressing. Should be. Oh, I got the greens in the sink, which I'm gonna start the next process on these, show you guys how I cut them up and rinse them off and all that stuff. So this is what the chitlins looks like now that I have them transferred over to the crock pot. This morning I got up and I cleaned all of that vinegar off of them, which I'm actually gonna be pouring some vinegar in here. But the vinegar I'm pouring in here is going to be for a different reason this time. It's not just to help to clean them, but it's going to actually help kill the smell of it while I'm actually cooking them. These are actually going to cook. Right now I have them on high because I just switched the pans around from the big pan right here to the crock pot right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these onions right here. I took 1 whole onion and diced it up, rinsed it off already. I'm just going to set those right in there. Oops. Set those onions right in there just like that. these onions is going to help kill the smell. I'm not going to put any salt on the chitlins yet. I have a different way that I cook mine. So right now I have some onion powder seasoning that I'm going to be using to season them. Again, the onion powder is going to help with the onions. They're going to like work together as a team. That looks like a lot of onion powder, but it's actually not. So they're going to work together as a team to kill the smell. So it's almost like cooking a perch fish or certain type of fish that you cook in your home. After you cook the fish, the smell is in your home for like 3, 4, 5 days after that. But this is where the onions and the onion powder will help kill the smell. So that the smell doesn't linger in my house for days after Thanksgiving is over with. I got some regular black pepper, putting right on top of there. Again, it looks like a lot, but it's actually not. Once I stir it up, then it'll make sense. Then I have this vinegar right here that I'm going to be using. Hope I can open that while I'm holding the camera. Oh yeah, perfect. I'm going to take this vinegar, regular vinegar, pour it right in there. Right in there, just like that. Go ahead and stir it up a little bit and let it sit down in there real quick. That way it gives it that good flavor. Now later on down the line, maybe sometime tonight as these get done, because they'll be done tonight. Again, it's on high right now because I just switched them from one pan to the crock pot. But once the water starts heating up really good in here, I'm gonna go ahead and then turn these all the way down on low. And they'll cook all night long, really slow. And then I'll add one more seasoning to them, which is salt. And I'll add just a little bit seasoning salt as people eat, because I don't want to over season stuff and then people come over and they want to eat and then it's too salty and you can't even enjoy the taste of the food. So again, that's how I cook my chitlins. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit salt to it right now. Regular white table salt, plain salt actually. Just a little bit, just enough to just kind of coat the top a little bit. And that's it, guys. So if you are cooking chitlins for the holidays, even if it's not for this holiday, if you decide to cook them for the next holiday, do it like this, guys, because you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong. This is a whole entire crock pot full of chitlins. And I'm just gonna say this, it's definitely going down at the Cryer family's house this holiday. Now I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off so I can get this video up to you guys. But the next one, I'm gonna be doing the greens. I have my scissors somewhere. Right here, I'm gonna be using these to cut the stems off the greens, and then I'm gonna be cutting the greens up, rinsing them off. So guys, stay tuned for that video. And as always, I appreciate all you guys for watching, man. I love you guys. Until next time, I'm Damian Cryer. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.